Am I the asshole for letting a coworker embarrass herself at a company outing? This happened back in Easter, but I am still getting some mixed reactions on it. I thought Reddit would be a good place to share it. I work with a guy we'll call Charles. Charles is a great coworker and started with us about 2 months before Easter. I got to know him, found out our kids go to the same school and our wives get along. Now I'll admit that Charles sounds a bit feminine, a bit of a soft voice, and he has some feminine mannerisms. He told me that he has 4 older sisters, so understandable. Now Betty was convinced from the day Charles was hired that he's gay. Anytime he's around, she makes small comments about him. Or says things like, "I can just sense things like this." Or, "No straight man walks around like that." Whatever that means, despite me telling her he has a wife and kids, she refused to believe me. Now for Easter, our company decided to host a party, Easter egg hunt, since COVID restrictions in our area were being lifted. It was a nice time to get out the house, enjoy some burgers, and the kids could have fun. Charles came with his wife and 2 kids. I have met his wife many times. Betty had not. We're chatting when Betty comes over. I don't remember exactly how the conversation went, but it was something like this. We exchanged the usual hi, hello, and it's such a nice day out. Betty. So where are your kids? I haven't met them yet. Charles. Oh, they are in the bounce house. They're having a great time. Betty. And what about your partner? Is he here? Charles. What are you talking about? Betty. There is no need to be ashamed of who you are, Charles. We are very accepting. Charles looked like he finally got what she was getting at. I'm not gay, Betty. Betty. Sure you are, hun. Look, don't hide it. I won't judge you for it. In fact, my brother is gay and he's here if you would like for me to introduce you. Just then Charles's wife came over. Betty's face turned white when he introduced her as his wife. Apparently she had seen them come into the party together but thought his wife was the nanny. She went off to sulk. Later on she pulled me aside and told me I didn't have to let her embarrass herself like that. I could have said something and now she won't be able to show her face to Charles again. I said it wasn't my problem. Charles doesn't think first I'm an asshole, nor did my wife. She got a good laugh out it. Betty told other coworkers and some were on my side while a few were on hers. They think I could have made a joke or just stopped the conversation so Betty didn't have egg on her face. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. I don't really know what you could have done, but more to the point, anyone who responds to, "I'm not gay," with, "Sure you are," doesn't need any help embarrassing herself. Not the asshole. Never interrupt a fool while they're doing their thing. Not the asshole. Your coworker is a complete asshole for assuming someone's sexuality, then doubling down after you blatantly told her Charles had a wife and family. What if he was gay and she outed him during a company get-together? She needs to mind her own business and she deserves to feel ashamed for this. She's just trying to blame you because she can't accept that she's in the wrong here. Plus, you already told her he was straight, which was none of her business anyways. Not the asshole. You already told Betty that Charles had a wife and kids. If she chose not to believe you, even going so far as to think his wife was actually his kid's nanny, then that's her fault. You aren't responsible for anyone else's stupidity. And if Charles actually were gay, Betty didn't need to come in like a presumptuous charging rhino, because he could have not wanted to come out just yet, not been comfortable discussing personal things with her. You tried to stop Betty from embarrassing herself. You told her he was married to a woman and she refused to believe you. This is 100% self-inflicted. Not the asshole. As a gay man, I find Betty super annoying. Don't make assumptions about my sexual orientation, and unless you are a close friend, don't try to introduce me to anyone. I'm a human being, not your pet project. Not the asshole. You did say something. And she didn't believe you. She got her assumptions thrown right in her face and she deserves it full score. Gave me a good chuckle. Not the asshole. You told Betty that Charles has a wife, it sounds like, and he clearly stated he's not gay. She refused to listen and just created her own weird reality. That's all on her. Not the asshole. Betty is the one who insisted she knew Charles's sexuality better than he did. She has only herself to blame. Not the asshole. Best work Easter party ever. Not the asshole. LMAO. Who even does that to someone? Even if you hadn't talked to her before about Charles, you just don't do that to someone. At my job, you'd probably get fired or at the very least a stern talking to, depending on how Charles took it. Betty is an adult and needs to learn how to act like one, even if that means learning the hard way. Not the asshole. I can't imagine much more you could have done given that you clearly told her he had a wife and kids. That is bizarre and while the opposite of her intention. Kinda homophobic to assert so strongly that gay men all have certain traits and that she, a straight woman with a gay brother, knows best. Not the asshole. Betty on the other hand, a complete and total empty-headed nutmeg. Not the asshole. You did try to stop her, several times, before the incident ever occurred. And even if you hadn't, I'm not sure what you were supposed to do in the moment seeing as she was so determined to make a prat out of herself. Put your hand over her mouth? Physically remove her from Charles's space? Either of those things would have gotten you in real trouble and it wouldn't have changed a thing. That train wreck was always going to happen at some point because Betty can't mind her own damn business. She did this to herself. Not the asshole but completely funny. Wish I could have seen her face when he introduced his wife rolling on the floor laughing. Betty should learn not to gossip and mind her own business. Not the asshole. Betty sounds like one of those people who claim to have gaydar. I bet she sees gay men as a stereotype and put her view in Charles due to how he acts. Just cause a man has a soft voice and keeps himself neat doesn't mean he's gay. I feel bad for her poor brother. Not the asshole and MZ. Betty is creating and cultivating a hostile work environment by openly speculating about a coworker's sexual orientation. That kind of crap does not belong in any work environment nor at an off-site function. Not the asshole. Tell Betty that her gaydar is non-existent and that just because a man has feminine traits it doesn't automatically make him gay. What's worse for her was that she tried to play matchmaker for her brother. She seems like the kind of person who so desperately wants a gay friend. Not the asshole. You had told her previously. Sure, you could have spoken up once more but it's really her fault for not listening and trying to play matchmaker. Especially after being told by Charles that he is not gay. Sheesh. She was unstoppable. As he told her he wasn't gay and she ignored it as she knew better than him. Her mouth was a train wreck and feel sure all you could was watch. She embarrassed herself and in no world is her behavior acceptable. Not the asshole. I hate people like this. It doesn't make you an ally if you're trying to assign certain sexualities to people. And mind your own freaking business. If they aren't sleeping with you, it does not concern you at all. She thought she was so woke and so accepting when in actuality she is the asshole and deserved this. Now maybe next time she'll think twice about telling people they're gay and to accept it before anyone divulges anything to her. Not the asshole. You're hilarious. If someone is already judging someone like that without really talking and getting to know a person, they deserve to be embarrassed. Not the asshole. You didn't hide the information from her. You've told her before he has a wife and kids and chose to ignore the facts you have her. If you'd said, no, his wife is over there, she probably wouldn't have believed you again or gotten mad for drawing attention to her mistake. She's just that kind of person who can't accept responsibility for embarrassing herself. Not the asshole. Betty made an ass of herself. She made an incorrect assumption about a very personal thing, made an idiot of herself, and continued to double down. This is 100% on Betty. FFS. You did correct her beforehand and she chose to go with her busybody bullshit intuition over what you told her. If anything, by letting her continue with her shitty behavior until she was embarrassed, you did her a favor. Since being told something gently doesn't sway her, she apparently needed to be publicly embarrassed in order to learn a lesson about not being a nosy asshole. She pulled me aside and told me I didn't have to let her embarrass herself like that. I could have said something. Despite me telling her he has a wife and kids, she refused to believe me. Not the asshole. But Betty sure is ta. I'm howling with laughter here. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Man, I needed that laugh. But seriously, anyone who seriously believes her, steer clear of. They're probably just as bad as she is about crossing boundaries. Not cool. Also, her logic about the wife being the nanny? Not the asshole. If Betty doesn't want to be embarrassing, she shouldn't act embarrassing. Not your circus, not your monkeys. Not the asshole. If Betty was embarrassed, she should assess her own behavior instead of yours. Sometimes you have to let the train wreck itself. Not the asshole. You told her Charles isn't gay. Charles told her he isn't gay. Yet she still insisted. Seriously, what else could you have done to prevent what happened? Are there really people out there who are that blunt and outright stupid? This interaction almost seems unreal and like something out of a shitty movie. This would be the most outrageous and offensive thing to do to someone I've heard in a while. Naturally, this would lead to her being called the dummy of the nation in the workspace from this point forward. Not the asshole. You already corrected her once before. If she wants to be right, then let her show just how wrong she is. Not the asshole, she made herself look like a fool and was rude to boot. You are the asshole for making up such a ridiculous story. When someone clearly states they are not gay, nobody responds with, "Sure you are, come. Meet my gay brother." You obviously have no gay friends or family members, because had this Avtul 8 happened, you'd be well aware the you would have been clowned on the second they brought it up. Not the asshole. She deserved it. Not the asshole. You aren't responsible for her behavior. Despite me telling her he has a wife and kids, she refused to believe me. You tried before. That was enough. Betty. There is no need to be ashamed of who you are, Charles. We are very accepting. Charles looked like he finally got what she was getting at. I'm not gay, Betty. Betty. Sure you are, hun. Look, don't hide it. I won't judge you for it. This makes Betty the awe. No one gets to tell someone what their orientation is. Not the asshole, you already told her and she decided to ignore it. Not your job to stop her from digging her own grave if she insists on it. Not the asshole, Betty is a bigot masquerading as an ally and you told her well beforehand that he wasn't gay. She let her own biases run away with her and chose to ignore that information right up to the point where she made a complete ass out of herself. Not the asshole. You did tell her that Charles isn't gay. You can only do so much to get through willful ignorance. Blind belief in the face of contradictory evidence is a dangerous defect in the human brain. Not the asshole. You literally told Betty that Charles had a wife and kids. Betty embarrassed herself, no one else did that for her. Not the asshole. She made very bold and stereotyping assumptions and acted on them. You had in fact tried to explain to her that she was wrong and she refused to believe you. Lol, this is so intensely fake. Betty. And what about your partner? Is he here? Charles. What are you talking about? Betty. There is no need to be ashamed of who you are, Charles. We are very accepting. Charles looked like he finally got what she was getting at. I'm not gay, Betty. Betty. Sure you are, hun. Look, don't hide it. I won't judge you for it. In fact, my brother is gay and he's here if you would like for me to introduce you. Who even talks like this? This is bad scriptwriting. Not the asshole. She sounds like a homophobic nightmare. She deserves what she got. Also, why the hell would she assume his wife was the nanny? Sounds like she's delusional. Straight people who insist they can sense these things are the worst. Info. When did Betty expect you to say something? Not the asshole. Honestly, this Betty lady sounds like she wouldn't even have stopped even if you intervened. She is way too obsessed. Not the asshole. Since when does your sexual orientation have any room in a workplace anyway? She should have been minding her own business all along. I am going to guess Betty is 65. Yo. The best part of COVID is the death of these forced company outings. It's a shame that it didn't happen at your place of work. Not the asshole. Tell Betty that it is exactly what you get when you put your nose in others' business. Fuck Betty. Not the asshole. So many things here. First, it was none of Betty's business what Charles's sexual identity was or wasn't. Gossiping about people's sex lives in the workplace is not just wrong, it's dangerous. Second, you had already told Betty before the picnic that Charles wasn't gay, had a wife and kids. She chose to disbelieve. Charles seems to have great self-respect. Kudos to him for not being thrown off by Betty's clodishness. Betty is a clod, a gossip, a meddlesome person, and probably a lot of other not great things. She stuck her foot in her mouth, inserted it even further with her last comments to Charles. Let her stew in her own juices. Op didn't owe Betty anymore, she made a fool of herself with no help from the outside. Ha 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 ha, no, not the asshole. Golden rule, you can't assume someone's sexuality and much less be so stubborn about what you claim to know. She was told, from what I understand, multiple times by you, to drop it. She chose not to and therefore embarrassed herself.